Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about a little inconvenient bit of history that's just emerged about Pam Bondi as it concerns the whole sorties down in Venezuela, which is as a lawyer for a conservative think tank in the Trump v. U.S. immunity case. She filed a brief. She's listed as the top lawyer telling the D.C. Circuit that a president may not order, it's unlawful for a president to order an assassination. Now, the court's immunity decision presumably takes any worry about criminal culpability for a war crime or military out of the picture. But what we have here is the sort of ungainliness or awkwardness of Bondi being on record saying, no, a president can't commit a murder. That would be unlawful. Basically, taking a position that was less extreme than the Supreme Court wound up adopting. So this arose out of the famous Seal 6 hypothetical that tied Trump's lawyers in the immunity position in knots. Judge Pam on the D.C. Circuit said, "Oh, wait a second. What happens if the president orders Seal 6, that's sort of an official act, just like talking to DOJ, to assassinate a political rival?" And basically, I think that was a really effective question because everyone's complete instinct is, you sure can't do that. Whatever you can do, you sure can't do that. And I think the answer that the Supreme Court gave is, yeah, well, that's tough. That's the way things go because you got to have immunity for the president. That's really the only way to read the opinion. But she was representing some military members at the time. And so she filed a brief saying, of course, you cannot do that. Here's the question that came up at oral argument, and you must answer it, she says, in this filing with a clear no. There may be circumstances, of course, in which a president may order the military to use lethal force to protect national security, but that's not what the hypothetical is about. So if you are acting outside of your lawful authority, the president can't do it. And she makes a big point again that the Supreme Court basically wipes away saying, in England, the king could do no wrong, but that is not the American form of government under our Constitution. No one in national government, no one may deprive another of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, and nothing about the president's powers in Article 2 changes that. So point one is, it's embarrassing for her and is going to, really, now that it's come to light. So this is your real position, yes, AG Bondi? And do you believe that if there wasn't lawful authority to do this, that nevertheless there's no problem? But then second, it's a broader issue then, is there criminal liability for the president, which is basically what the argument here is. And it really goes to unlawful is unlawful. So this is a pretty strong argument. Doesn't go completely to cover it, but a pretty strong argument that if this whole OLC memo that we haven't seen lays out a purported line of authority that the United States can just bomb to bits the so-called narco-terrorist boats, whatever they are, which we've done 24 times, killing 80 plus people. If that turns out not to be based on solid authority, then her position here would really imply that the president just can't order it. Now, we see all the time that candidates for office or whatever have taken a position in litigation, and that's not to say what they would take as the official person in a government. So it's only sensible to be careful about the gotcha point. But it's such a sort of central question about how the Constitution works. And if she's out on the hustings making broad statements that whatever the president says goes, and even if the purported legal basis doesn't hold water, it just doesn't matter. This is going to be sort of flung in her face. And by the way, it should be as a matter of law. It's not simply the awkwardness of having said it before, but we have here what I think is going to be revealed to be a really tenuous opinion from the Office of Legal Counsel. We are not at war with the people who are selling drugs off the coast of Venezuela. They are committing crimes, arguably, that we could prosecute if we could extradite them, but we can't just blow them away, or so it certainly appears to most scholars who have thought about this. OLC says something else. We'll see what OLC has to say. But if that doesn't fly, then everything that's going on is on really sketchy, not even thin ice, no ice. So, at that point, this kind of very strong tub-thumping proclamation that she made as a lawyer, I'm not saying that commits you forevermore, but that she made as a lawyer that, come on, the Constitution doesn't exempt the president and give a license to just blow people away, except if we're legitimately in a war footing with them, is going to be rubbed in her face somewhat. You know, the big point is going to be what is in the OLC memo. In the past, it had at least the sort of credibility of having the responsibility to give independent advice. Now there's no such thing as independent advice in the Department of Justice. And so the rationale for just blowing vessels out of the water may really not hold up. And then it's an enormous mess all over the place. So, and at that time, Bondi will add to it just a little with her advocacy of the other position just last year in the immunity case. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.